right. Hey guys, welcome to Sensational Spaces Chat, where we talk all things sensory and spaces and design. And so today, I just want to introduce you to my friend Amanda Purchase here, who is
Right.
the owner, creator of Sensational Spaces.
Yes,
And
very
I'm,
exciting.
yes, and I'm Holly James, and I am in marketing. I'm a mom of three. I have kiddos with neurodivergent needs. And so let's just get into it. How did we meet?
So I also have three kids, and
Yes,
I think we somehow got connected through
a friend,
kids and mutual
actually.
friends,
Yep.
kid friends, and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. And
Yes.
then um, I started working with
Because you're an OT.
because I'm an OT, so I'm a pediatric OT.
Yeah.
I have been for I don't know 25, almost 25 years.
Yes.
So I've primarily worked with children with autism, ADHD, behavior issues, self regulation, that kind of thing. And so, um, so we met because you were looking for someone to help you
Yep, with my kiddos.
with your kiddos. So
Yeah. So it's been a journey.
it's been a journey, and it's a very like cyclical journey,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's like I feel like our paths keep crossing,
Yes. Yeah.
through
It's
multiple
like, yeah,
people, and
first we started with potentially with one kid and you helped and, learned a lot about sleep and the importance of
mm-hmm,
that in our bodies.
mm-hmm,
Then moved on to kid number three and we knew that there were some, neurodivergent issues going on very early on. And so
mm-hmm,
you came and did OT there.
mm-hmm.
And then through that recommended us putting in a sensory space in our house
Yes,
so that
it's right here.
you right here, this wall, this is her,
Yep.
and it's in my house. And so and then after that we have crossed paths again
Yeah.
with wanting to tell more people about how.
The difference that design makes with
Yes.
neurodiversity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I have such a passion because of you and
Mm-hmm.
the difference it's made in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's been really cool for us to both have this mutual passion of healing and growth. Um,
Yeah, and I think equally I've figured out from working with your family and putting this space in here just how huge, I already
Huge.
knew that, but how just
Mm,
overwhelmingly huge
yeah.
the environment plays in the role of neurodiversity
Mm,
and feeling good in yourself, being able to regulate your central nervous system,
yeah.
to engage in social ways and academic ways and work ways and
Yeah.
all of the ways at school and just across all environments, how it's just
Yeah.
I can't even explain, like there's
Yeah.
not
From
a
like
word for how
when we were
big the
together
impact it
at
is.
first,
Mm-hmm.
where our family was then and
Mm-hmm.
my kids then to
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah.
Like it's just.
Well, and kind of our journeys overlapped with
Mm,
what you were needing in your space at home,
mm-hmm.
and then my business kind of organically, accidentally starting in that same
Yeah.
process, and us just kind of like talking and communicating about, oh my gosh, this is so crazy, like it just
Yeah.
keeps coming back to environment, environment,
Yes.
environment, environment. Like we can do therapy, and that's important, and we
Yes.
can do modifications at school and accommodations and all these things, but it's like the basic general environment. Like to me, it's like one of our senses, like it's just
Yeah.
always currently running in the
Like
background.
so that's
It's
kind
like
of like
a
the base, right? And so like all
yes.
those other things are built on top of that. And so
Yeah.
without that it's like you're doing good things but it never has a home, you
Right,
know.
which is why
Yeah.
like people always ask, like, how'd you get started? And I was like, well, it was kind of by accident. A school approached me about designing a space in their school for a sensory
Yeah.
motor lab because they were just seeing so many kids having so many
Mm.
difficulties and struggles with behavior and attention and focus, so much so that the teachers weren't really able to teach in the classroom.
Yeah. 'Cause schools are
And
hard.
schools are very hard,
Yeah.
and they're hard environments for
Everyone.
everyone,
Yeah.
and you're there 8 hours a day, so
Yeah.
better feel good, right?
Yeah.
And so through that process, I got to see on a very large scale basis the direct impact of having a
Mm.
sensory space for these kids to have their needs met instantly, and then be able to return to the classroom without the behavior problems, without disciplinary approach, with a very proactive, healthy, positive approach. And then at the same time, we were putting the space in your house, and I was like
Yes.
just mind blown by the results of both of them. Like, hey, when you design
Mm.
spaces for neurodiversity, it really changes the world for um, the child, the family,
Yeah.
the school, the
Yeah.
teachers. I mean, just it's a huge impact, and it's so easy. Like
Yeah.
it's so easy,
Yeah.
and it's so big. And when we do it the right way, there's like such a less need for other resources,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So
Yeah,
it
it's so
was
cool.
it was like crazy how.
Yeah, and like it's such like a new concept.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, such it should be such a basic concept, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so like a lot of, even I would say, like spaces like beyond having the functional things that you need,
Mm-hmm.
right, for those things to happen, are just designed in such a different way of like colors.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like spaces that I've encountered, doctors' offices,
Mm-hmm.
gyms, things like that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
community centers,
yeah, a lot of primary
airports.
colors, or
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Yeah.
colors, or just whatever equipment that's pieced together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like cool equipment, but like
Mm-hmm.
none of it
Like
matches.
cluttered or visually
Right,
cluttered or.
right. And so, like, just such a different, like, so not only are you putting in things that are helping to, increase input or decrease input,
Mm-hmm.
also, like, you're very particular and mindful of
Yes.
colors and how it's organized.
Yeah. So, um, like I said, I'm a pediatric OT, so I
Yeah,
decide what goes into the space
yeah.
therapeutically
Super cool.
and based on neuroscience of the demographics of that child, that family, that school, that community space,
Mm,
that workspace, whatever it may be. And then I work with an interior designer,
so cool.
and we always say like I decide what goes in the space, and she just makes it pretty.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
like, I just make it pretty, which is
yeah.
really not what she does, but she's phenomenal at space planning and making it
Yes.
feel visually calming,
Mm-hmm.
and then aesthetically beautiful too. It's
Yeah,
like a lot of times we think of kid spaces like they have to look like a kid space. Well, no,
right.
this can exist in your home, and it
Yeah,
just looks like a really cool space in your home or your
right.
school or your dental office or wherever. But it also is serving a function of, like, when we design for neurodiversity, it's really better designed for everyone.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
it's more functional, it's more
Mm-hmm.
focused, you have better attention, and everyone just feels calmer and more
Calm.
peaceful. And I
Yeah.
always tell people, like, you can increase productivity while also increasing calm. They're like, that's
Mm.
impossible. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it's actually very easy when you can combine things like occupational therapy, design,
Yeah.
architecture,
Yeah.
engineering. You could kind of combine all of those
Such
into.
a good team,
Yeah,
right? It's
it's
kind of
very
like
cool.
Marie Kondo meets OT. It all
That would
makes
be a
us feel
cool.
better, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. I just, like I said, I love your heart for that. It has changed the way my family functions for sure. I mean, we're super, I think we're a very open family of,
Mm-hmm.
for healing,
Yeah.
for, we love the idea of therapy increasing that for us. We're
Mm-hmm.
very open to that. Like, we've always been very early adopters of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea about that part at all.
Mm-hmm.
And to experience that firsthand
Mm-hmm.
and be like, oh my gosh, I think everybody needs this. I wish everyone had that. I
Right.
wish our
Schools.
schools,
Mm-hmm.
like just seeing how much it's helped us at home, going,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, if we had this at school, can you
Yeah.
imagine
I know.
that, like, how successful we would be in that? And now, even for myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, my office needs to have, I just
Yeah.
added like a little bike just for myself and
Right.
under my desk, like
Yeah.
to give me something to
Yeah.
do. And like, it's just,
Increases your
yeah,
focus and
my
attention,
focus of
and
productivity.
it's funny because that initial space we did was right before COVID happened. In
Mm,
fact, we
right.
never got to go back and take pictures because then the world shut down for a year. But
Huh.
what I worked on a lot while I was at home during
Mm.
COVID is just looking at design and neurodiversity and focus and attention, and it was never more
Evident.
like evident
Yeah, yeah,
than
yeah.
during COVID. We're like,
Yeah.
we're all in our
Because you
home
like have
space,
to do
we're in our
everything
office, and
there
it's like,
all the time.
well, and you're like trying to
Yeah.
work, and then you've got kids, like, that's very loud and noisy. So
Thousand
people,
percent.
it's like
Yeah.
there's things that we can do acoustically, there's things we can do visually, like putting
Mm.
up doors where, like, your kids aren't staring at you, or and
Yeah.
then decreasing noise, and just how that can very much carry over, which a lot of us have stayed working at home. So it's an interesting dynamic where um, I think a lot of people really realize, like, hey, the workspace makes a difference,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's a lot of better ways to do it where you can have lots of variety and workspace setup as far as mobility and acoustics and visual input and all of the lighting and all of those things.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to see it makes such a huge difference, not just for the world of neurodiversity, but for everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I'm super
it's really
excited.
cool.
I love to get into this. I'm so excited for this podcast that we're going to
Me
just
too.
really like deep dive into some really cool issues that I think
Yeah.
people are going to find super helpful. I know I find helpful. You've taught me so many things. So
So fun.
excited to get to share that with everyone.
Me
So
too.
thanks for tuning in.
Thank
We'll see you guys next
you.
week.